Aloha and welcome to Goddess Unleashed. This is Diane Vick, your host, and today for the interviews of courage and compassion, I brought on Lora Cheadle, who has completely inspired me to flaunt my greatness and show the world what I have to offer. She is a spectacular keynote speaker and author that spreads her powerful message in a variety of ways. She also has a podcast on Dream Vision 7. It's called Flaunt, Build Your Dream, Live Your Sparkle. Yesterday, Lora taught a Facebook Live 101 about burlesque, which I'm going to interview her about. Lora, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, thank you for having me, Diane. I started off as a corporate attorney and I practiced law for 10 years. And it was a great experience. I loved practicing law because I'm all about truth and justice and working hard and doing the right thing. But somewhere along the line, after I had my second baby, I thought, oh, I am working so hard and I am so exhausted and I don't even know if this is really what I want to do. You know, to just get up and work so hard at home and work so hard at work and to do it all over again every day. I kept thinking, this is not really the way that I planned. There really should be something more. But I wasn't sure what that something more would be because that's something so many of us go through. So right after I had my second baby, shortly thereafter, I decided to transition. So I made the leap and I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew it had to do with justice. I knew it had to do with helping people step into their power, with having people get what they deserve, but more what they deserve on an internal level. So I got really curious and I've always danced. I've always done fitness. I got certified to personal train. I'd always taught to teach yoga, to do integrated energy therapy as an angel therapy practitioner, and then also as a hypnotherapist because I wanted to change the subconscious portion of the mind. So I actually went back to school to do that. It was great. But then I thought I'd like to experiment more. I want to put all of these pieces together because I would find I would personal train somebody and just work with the body, but then things wouldn't change, habits wouldn't change. So I had to get to the mind. Or I would see somebody just for hypnotherapy, but the energy wouldn't change or their body wouldn't change. So I just started experimenting with some of the different moms, some of the women that I had used to work with, my friends, my family, and I put together these 5 steps of Flaunt. And once I did, it really gelled and it really helped people start changing and start getting over anything that was kind of blocking their path because life is not fair. And when people would have something happen and they would be like, this is not fair, this is awful, it's like, no, you're right. And let's use these 5 steps to get you beyond that so you can start excelling. And from there, like I said, everything just gelled and I published the book and everything has been really rolling since then.
That is so amazing. I love that you ended up as a hypnotherapist too, because I went back to school to become a hypnotist. As I went through the journey and I saw that my obstacles and challenges kept getting in my way, once I went through hypnosis, I was finally able to surpass things and really shift things in my life. And that's how I ended up publishing the book, The Truth About IBS and Anxiety. If I wouldn't have done hypnosis, I wouldn't have gotten through those barriers. And then that is what really brought the program together because I realized people were making shifts, but they weren't really changing their lives. Things weren't sticking around long enough for them to keep that pattern. And the hypnosis and affirmations and positive thinking is really what ingrained that in their subconscious. So it's amazing that we both ended up in like the same place.
Yeah, because it is so powerful. Because if change was easy, if we could just decide, oh, I'm going to change and then do it, it would be easy. And the whole world would be amazing because we would all be doing these incredible things. And that's exactly it. That's the problem. We make these decisions, you know, whether it's I'm going to lose weight and get in shape, or I'm going to leave this relationship and upend my entire life. We all know on a conscious level what we need to do or want to do, but it's hard. And it's hypnosis that really ingrains it into the subconscious mind that gives us the power to step in to whatever it is we need to do and to make those changes.
Absolutely. It's so powerful. I want to know a little bit about burlesque. Yesterday you taught this class and it was so sexy and fun. And I saw all those positions and I was like, okay, why can't I do this on camera? Why can't I show people my climactic stretch and tell them how to connect with their body and move energy through their chakras? And of course, the missing element was you, because the world tends to bring me people that I need for inspiration. And this was your class yesterday.
I'm so glad. Burlesque kind of started out as an accident for me. And for people who don't know what burlesque is, it's not stripping. The removal of clothing is used, never to full nudity, but you use the removal of clothing to reveal more about the character, to reveal more about the character's emotional state, to poke fun at something. A burlesque is a parody. Shakespeare's Midsummer's Night's Dream is a burlesque. There's a lot of performers out there who are burlesque performers. Think Elton John. Everything is overdone, costumes, props. That's a burlesque. He is a burlesque performer. So I had no idea what it was, but I had been taking some dance lessons at this dance studio, and they offered a burlesque workshop that was at the time that I was free. So I thought, even though I don't know what it is, I'm going to take it and I'll see what it's all about. It'll be amazing. And it was, because it's about identity and what's underneath. So like many women, we have our mom identity, we have our work identity, we have our daughter, our partner, our friend. We have all of these different identities that we connect with, but oftentimes we don't have our own identity. Who are you? I don't know. If I'm with my kids, if I'm at work, if I'm with my friends, if I'm with my parents, then we know who we are, but we don't know who we are on our own. And burlesque is about, you can create any character you want, but it's about stripping out of those different layers of identity. And a couple of things that I also really loved about it is there is that sexy piece. And all of us want to be sexy and look sexy. I don't care who you are. When you're with a partner, you want to look sexy. But there's not a lot of places where we can go to have somebody say, let me show you how to do that. People will be like, stop, be a good girl, don't do that. Ew, that's scary. But it's normal and it's natural and we want to do that. So back to burlesque. As I started dancing and loving it, I had all of those hang-ups come up in my head. I am not 20. I was 44 when I started dancing. My body is not perfect. It's not bad, but it's not perfect. And I think about the one-dimensional, images that have been photoshopped and I couldn't compare. I'm older. I've had kids. My body is not perfect, blah, 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 blah. And I'd say, I can't do that. Well, then it made me realize saying I can't do that is me limiting me. It's truly nobody else is limiting me. It's me saying, Laura, you are not letting yourself have fun because you're hung up because you don't look like a picture of somebody that's not real anyway. So it dawned on me that I could start living my life, or I could be like, no, and say no. And I decided to start living. And it was amazing because for me, I love being on stage, and I get up on stage and I start dancing and I start moving and I start having fun. And burlesque celebrates all body types, all ages, all shapes. And people started coming up to me after performances, women, crying, tearful, choked up, and they'd be like, you are so beautiful. And if you can allow yourself to be sexy and beautiful at that age with that body, so can I. And it was so powerful because it was like, well, yes. And I am beautiful when I move this way. And you can be beautiful when you move this way. And burlesque is just something that we're really stripping out of those inhibitions. We're stripping out of that body shame. We're stripping out of all of that horrible stuff that we do to ourselves. And we're just allowing ourselves to be who we are at whatever age we're at and whatever size we're at, and to have fun with who we are today. Because bodies change. They always will. And that's okay.
Absolutely. Our bodies are constantly changing, and that self-love and appreciation for our own bodies is what really helps propel things forward. I mean, I had self-conscious issues. I was not, like, I didn't think I was sexy and pretty, and people would tell me, how is that possible? You're like gorgeous with those green eyes. I didn't see it until I started going through this transformation and really working on myself, and then working on the subconscious is what made me really aware of it, and then started creating all of these things. One of the things that I did recently on stage, which I never would have done before, was I got on stage in an empowerment event and I had two different dresses on. My husband saw me with this big frumpy dress. He said I looked gorgeous, but it was a frumpy dress. And then I get on stage and I reveal this goddess dress. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is unleashing your inner strength. I would never have done this before. I worked through my challenges and obstacles to get here, to show you who I am now, and to show you how invigorating it is to show your true self and be who you are and honor that. And a lot of women came up to me after that event, just, you know, because of everything I did, the hypnosis, the helping them feel pain and then releasing the pain. It was just an amazing experience. When you bring all these things together, you see such a big transformation, and dance is so powerful.
Yes.
Yesterday, I actually published an article on a different website at Catalyst 360 called Dance Release. And I've never done it on camera, but it is how music and dance and vocalizing the words and processing those emotions releases so much stress from your body. And yes, it makes you feel sexy, because what I teach my clients is stand in front of that mirror. Look at yourself in front of the mirror being silly and sexy, and you start to appreciate yourself so much more just by that.
Yes, absolutely. And we're physical beings, and we're meant to be physical. And I like to take it back to a lot of the indigenous cultures. There were dances that celebrated everything: birth, life, death, the hunt, rain, the seasons. We danced and we sang and we released that energy, and that's part of that flow, and we've got to do it. We have got to do it. And it does. I'm sorry, I don't care who you are or what you're going through. If you sing to your favorite song and dance to it, in 3 minutes, you feel different.
Absolutely. That is dance release. Do it in the car, wherever you are. Turn on a song and shift those emotions. You have the power within you to release it, for sure. Yeah. So tell us how flaunting and owning your power fosters self-love and validation.
Oh, I love that. Flaunting and owning your power. Think about the messages that we get from society. You have to be thin, but you can't be skinny. You have to be curvy, but you can't be fat. You need to be smart and assertive, but you can't be aggressive. There's all of these limits that we can't do this, we can't do this. It's a very narrow, there's a very narrow line of acceptability, especially for women. We are judged all the time. And when you start flaunting exactly who you are and owning your power, it really takes you outside of those judgments. It's not about being a jerk. It's about being who you are and being okay with that. So whether it's somebody mansplaining something to you that you already know, flaunting yourself is just about saying that. I already know that. Thank you. No. It's about if you're feeling more emotion around something, not constantly hiding it. Being able to verbalize, I'm feeling a lot of emotion around this. I'm feeling very tearful. I need to step away. I'm feeling like this rage build up in me. I need to go run it out or dance it out. It's about owning everything that's happening in your body, in your mind. So many times people, this is the whole imposter syndrome, have honest questions, but they won't ask it because they're afraid of how they will look. Ask your honest question, own your emotion, learn and grow and flaunt exactly who you are. And if you've got your expertise, use it. Instead of being the nice girl or stepping back or saying, no, that's okay, you have that. Own it. And that's what flaunt is about, because when we step into exactly who we are, then nobody else can criticize us anyway. If we are always upfront and always truthful, there's truly nothing anybody can say that will hurt us. So it releases us from that judgment, because The fact is, we're harder on ourselves than anybody else would ever be on us. And when we're honest about it, nobody can hurt us. And then we keep ourselves outside of that realm of judgment, and we start feeling better about ourselves. And we start feeling better about other people. And then we foster healthier relationships because we're connecting, because we've owned our flaws, we've owned our power, and we can really start connecting with other people, and our relationships get better, and everything in our world gets better when we start flaunting.
I love it. I love everything that you said. It's so amazing when you start to actually own your power and speak up for yourself. I know that women can be particularly mean to other women, and it's happened to me. As I went through this evolution, and I told you before, I went through my Kundalini awakening, which is like this rude awakening. Honestly, I had no idea what was happening and why my mind was so creative, and it was like it was sparking all over the place. And I created all of this stuff, and a lot of people were very negative about it, and that's why I ended up hiding my burlesque character, right? Because I told you yesterday, I watched you on stage and I'm like, I have a character. She's my character, and it's my creative side, and it's my sexy, spunky side that I never show anybody except the people that are close to me. And that is that fear that people are going to judge you, but really the one that I was judging myself for having this weird creativity that just happened. It wasn't that I expected it to happen, but it was a beautiful creative experience that brought a love story that came out of hardship and struggle. And I actually created my character who has red hair, and she's this voluptuous redhead who's wearing this sexy emerald green outfit, and she's describing all of these beautiful love story things happening in this story that I wrote.
I love that.
Yeah.
And when people judge us, what I've really found is it says more about them than it does about you. If somebody's judging you, they are feeling uncomfortable inside around something. That they want to do what you're doing, but they've been told they can't or they shouldn't. And they're, folding in on themselves. They're limiting themselves. And that really they're trying to limit you to do what they're doing to validate themselves. It really doesn't have anything to do with you when you're being judged. Especially when people are like, oh, honey, I just love you and I want you to be safe. No. It's, oh, honey, I love you and I want you to be just like me and do exactly what I'm doing. And I was too afraid to do that. So you should be too, because it's making me afraid.
Oh, absolutely. I've seen that on and again. And that's why it's so important for us to set boundaries when we see that that's happening in our relationships and some people are holding us back. We need to set boundaries and then connect with people that are pushing you forward and propelling you to do your dream. Because if not, you will keep getting stuck and letting everything get in your way.
Oh, yes.
You already answered that one. What would you say your biggest hurdle in this journey to your greatness was?
Oh, that's an interesting question. The biggest hurdle is always within. And it's accepting. I was okay at accepting my greatness. I was okay at owning my greatness. It was then being organized enough to step into it and to let it manifest. Because that shifts your world around you. So when you're doing it inside, it can be like, oh, I've got it, I'm amazing. But then how do you take that internal awareness and shift it into the world and actually start putting it out there? And that, I think, was a little bit more difficult for me because then I had to really admit to everybody else, yes, I've got this. Yes, I channel. Yes, I can be sexy and I can own it. Yes, I can do this too. And it was just manifesting on the outside everything that I knew to be true on the inside.
I absolutely understand everything you're saying because that's what I'm going through right now. So I published this book. Now I'm on stage. I'm pushing through my own resistance to get out there and show people what and flaunt who I am, right? All the gifts, the creative writing, the children's books, the adult, self-help books. And it's like this trilogy of Diane, all of different sides of me. And how do I show the world them, but keep them separate, but still united to show who I am and
Yeah.
honor that, yes, I'm an intelligent and smart woman, but I'm also have my sexy, funny, silly side that I want to show the world, because I think showing everything is really how people can really connect with you. Because some people might connect to your intellectual side, but some people might connect to your sexy burlesque side. And it just
Yeah.
really gives you a variety.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the whole title of my book. Drop your cover and reveal your smart, sexy, spiritual self. Because I truly believe all people are smart in their own way, whether it's academics or something else. We all have our intellect. Move into that and quit hiding it. If you're brilliant at something that the world doesn't value, still move into your brilliance, because that is your zone of genius. And then same thing with the sexy. All women are sexy. They are. I don't care how old or what is your size or your shape or your condition. All women are sexy, because sexiness is just owning who you are and allowing that spirit to flow through. So move into that. Don't be afraid of it. There's so much taboo around being sexy. And then same thing with spirituality. It can be religion. It can be spirituality. It's some mix of something. Even if people, identify as an atheist, that's still a form of spirituality. Let it all out there and be everything that you are.
Absolutely. Let it all out and connect everything, mind, body, and soul, whatever you believe, it doesn't matter. It's about finding your own unique balance and doing things that really nurture your soul and give you energy and flow that amazingness out to the world, because we're here to help inspire, right? That's what this series is all about, is inspiring change and transformation.
Yes.
We have a couple minutes left before we have to pause for the break. So I'll ask one quick question. How does your unique approach transform women's lives for great abundance?
Oh, my approach is unique because it's fun, because we add that physical element of burlesque. We have a lot of fun. And then when people step into the fun, it's easier to keep going. We will come back to something when it's fun. If something is painful, we're like, I've got to binge watch Netflix. So my approach is different because it's something that the women want to come back to, because it is fun, because it is connecting. When we're in a place of fun, we're in a place of gratitude. When we're in that place of gratitude, we can open up and receive, and that's where the abundance comes in, whether it's receiving health or material wealth or relationships. It's literally all starts with having fun and feeling good. And from there, everything flows because we're in a receptive state.
That's so true. It's amazing when you make that connection. So my class is very fun too. And what I decided now, since everyone's in the middle of this crisis and they are looking for support, I actually created something different called Manifest Wellness. And it's, taking them through steps of becoming aware of their body, creating that understanding of what symptoms is my body telling me. So now I can process and flow them, and then bring in the fun through climactic stretching and dance releasing, where it's absolutely being silly and watching me do my crazy dances with music. I am not an instructor of dance, but it's how I have processed my emotions, and you can learn your body and get the energy to flow even without being a professional.
Oh,
And just
totally. Yeah, totally. We're dancing is in our genes. It just is. Just feel the music and move, and that's dancing.
Absolutely. And you don't need a degree to dance. Anybody can turn on a song and do it. And it's an amazing experience to help process that. I love your book. I can't wait to read it. We are going to go on a pause break for a little bit and hear some commercials. Stay tuned for the next half of Goddess Unleashed. Aloha and welcome back to Goddess Unleashed. This is Diane Vick and I'm interviewing Lora Cheadle. And before we left, we were talking about dancing and how it releases stress and all her burlesque sexiness. She also teaches something called yogalesque. Tell us a little bit about that.
love yogalesque. In my work as a yoga instructor and also as an integrated energy therapist, I started learning a lot about the chakras. And I don't know about you, but it's one of those things that you start learning about it and you want to learn more and learn more and learn more. The chakras, there's 7 major chakras, and they're just the energy centers of the body. And different energy is stored in that area of the body. So whenever we have a trauma, that energy center is impacted. And take the heart. If you lose a relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship or you lose a friend or a parent or any kind of a loved one, you have that heartbreak, you feel it around your heart. And I don't care who you are or if you believe in energy or the chakras or not, you can feel that pain in your heart. And we have a lot of intuitive body language around our chakras. So if you are heartbroken, what do? Oh, people start talking about it and they put their hands on their heart. Nobody taught you to put your hands on your heart when you're feeling love or heartbreak. It's something we do. If you can't see something and you're frustrated, what do? You go, oh, and you put your head in your hands. What are you doing? You're touching that third eye point. You're blocking your ability to see. There's all of these things. If you're, oh, you put your hands on your throat, you put it on your belly. We do all of this stuff because it's intuitive, it's innate. It's because of the chakra energy, because of the way that it flows. So what I do in a yogalesque class is I dance people through from that negative experience to a positive experience. So the root chakra is all about safety and security. A lot of people right now with this whole COVID thing are nervous about the safety and security. So when you're nervous, what do? You kind of like tuck tail. You kind of slouch down. You kind of hunker in and you get in this fear-based position. So through yogalesque, we'll identify that. What is natural for your body? And we move into it. And then we start dancing it into that opposite experience. How do you move when you're very secure? So you might be doing some hip circles. You might be doing some pelvic rocks. We start opening it up and dancing it through so the energy can flow. Now the burlesque piece comes in because it's fun and it's funny and it's a caricature. So if you know how your body feels in threat and you know how your body feels in security, you can start adopting that secure behavior even in times of threat and start making yourself feel better. And because like attracts like, when you're in that closed down, threatened position, you attract more of that. When you're in your open up, powerful state, you attract more of that. So by the end of a yogalesque class, you will have moved through all 7 chakras. You will know how you feel in a positive state, and you'll be able to put yourself in that positive state no matter what's going on in your life to start feeling better and then consequently attracting better.
I love it. I love how everything like aligns with what I do. So one of the things I wrote about in the book is we have 2 roots to our pain, our physical pain. If we have symptoms, any kind of symptoms, whether it's heartburn or chronic pain like I had or fatigue, there's a reason behind it. And it's the physical inflammation that's happening inside your body because the energy is not flowing. And then there's the emotional component where we're trapping our emotions inside our tissues, creating this chronic condition. And to synergistically work through that, you have to create something that simultaneously works on both. So I see how that is so powerful in doing in that shift, because you're working on the mind at the same time as you're working on the body, which is what I love to do with climactic stretch, is actually combine it with hypnosis, guided like meditation hypnosis, and learning how to elongate and lengthen your muscles and use the beats of songs to stretch out and release that tension and create a deep sense of pleasure that can be orgasmic. When you are releasing intense pain that you've been holding on for years, it can be highly orgasmic. And it's an amazing experience to simply be stretching out your body or dancing and have this release that has nothing to do with sex.
No, I love that.
It brings great pleasure. And why not embrace the pleasure that you can create within your own body?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because movement feels good. We're physical beings.
I love it. I
Yay.
love how we align.
I do too.
So yesterday you talked about stretching and opening the solar plexus and opening your heart,
Yes.
and using your intention for posture.
Yes, absolutely. Our intention is so powerful. And most of us don't set an intention every day. We just live our life kind of blindly. We get up, we know our routine. I cook breakfast, I pack a lunch, I wake the kids up, let the dog out. Whatever it is that we do, we go to work, we just check the boxes, we have lunch, it's time for this. Then we have, time for our class, time for dinner, we don't think about anything because we just get locked in to that flow of what our days look like. But when we set an intention about how we want to feel, how we want to get through that process, today it will be about loving and connecting. Or, today will be about noticing or feeling, just small intentions. Then we change our posture. We change our relationships with other people because no longer are we just going through the motions. We're feeling it and we're living it. And I really feel like for me and for a lot of people, the most important chakras are that heart center, the solar plexus, which is the seat of our power, and then the throat, which is our voice. And if we can combine our heart and our power and our voice intentionally every day, it will make all of our relationships different. Even if we're just waking up in the morning and getting ready to leave and our spouse or partner is doing the same thing. If we have that intention to connect from the heart, to share that power and to have the voice, everything becomes more rich and life is just lived at a deeper level. And then when we're open, our posture is better too, because we're shining the energy out of those three centers and we're not just and exhausted. We're open and we're receptive and we can receive love, even if it's just from the barista or from somebody walking their dog down the street. It's a hello and it's a sharing and it's a connection. And our body is in better alignment. So we feel better. So then we're mentally clear because we're not fogged in with pain. And our entire life experience changes just by focusing our intention on our body and on what we want to create in that day, in that moment.
I love that. Every single morning before I get up out of bed, I get in this position that I call dragonfly, and I do deep breathing. So the breath that I teach is the 5-5-5 breath. It's inhaling for a count of 5, holding your breath for a count of 5, and exhaling slowly for a count of 5. As they progress through the program, then I teach them other elements to add. So obviously by this point, I know all of them. So I start with Kegel and pelvic exercises. My legs are in this position and I'm flowing the energy upward as I breathe, and then releasing any negativity and connecting with that gratitude for the day. And it's just a great way to start your day and get everything flowing. And then you pop up and do my handwriting. So one of the things we were talking about before that we kind of lost the video for a bit is how powerful the combination of different strategies can help you transform and evolve, and using affirmations. So opening up the chakras and combining these different techniques can be so powerful. One of the things that you mentioned was how handwriting has changed things for you. And I've seen it for me. Every night when I'm watching TV, I get messages. I write down things that I want to do, videos that I want to create that scare the crap out of me. And as I feel these emotions and I use that awareness to take action and actually write down an affirmation, it changes things within that subconscious to make that difference. Tell me about the handwriting and how it's helped you.
Yeah, handwriting is a subconscious action. Whenever we learn, I'll just do a little description here. Whenever we learn something new, we're learning it in the conscious portion of our brain. Like if you remember when you learned how to drive, it's difficult. You're thinking, how do I move my foot? How do I do this? How am I oversteering, understeering? But once behavior is learned, it becomes subconscious. We don't have to think about it anymore. We just do it. So if you've been driving now for any longer than a year, you don't think about, I'm turning the wheel left and right, and when do I put on the blinker? Now. You just do it. You're driving along, you click blinkers on and off, you regulate gas to brake, you just drive and you just flow and you don't think about it. And that's because it's a subconscious habit. And whatever you're doing a subconscious habit, you are in the subconscious mind. And handwriting, cursive, same thing. It's a subconscious habit. We learn it as kids. It's very difficult at first, but then once you learn it, it becomes subconscious. So whenever you want to access the subconscious portion of your brain, you need to do something that's a subconscious behavior, which the easiest thing is writing in cursive. At night, your brain tends to go into a more hypnotic state. Anyway, the average person goes into hypnosis 7 times a day, by the way. So if you're doing a subconscious behavior at a time when your mind is going into that subconscious state, you're able to rewire the neural pathways in the brain. So before bed, for about 30 seconds, if you just write down your positive affirmations, your intentions, it starts changing the way your brain processes. And it can be very simple, just that I am powerful and organized. I am kind and loving. Anything very simple, if you just write it down repeatedly at night, you start changing that brain. The subconscious portion of the brain believes that, and it becomes its own truth. And then you start living differently.
So yes, the handwriting is so powerful. And I connected you with my friend Josephine. Eventually she's going to come on the podcast, but she taught me about this form of handwriting, which is transform your life through handwriting. It's called the Vimala alphabet. It's a very different way of reprogramming the subconscious. And I started it back in November when I published the book and I met her, and it's gotten me out of my own way. And a lot of it, it's so healing. Like when I write these words and I write down my affirmations, the things I feel in my body is so amazing and so relaxing that I can finally do the things I want to do the next day instead of staying stuck and scared.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
I love it that something so simple can be so powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't take a lot of time, because that's what holds so many people back. They're like, I don't have an hour a day. It's like, no, you don't, and you don't need it.
No, it's super quick. I mean, when I do my handwriting every morning, it's less than 10 minutes. I write the letters that she designs for me for whatever my goals are. And then I use the handwriting when I'm writing my notes at night. And that's it. If I write notes, I use it. And it helps relax me. And it's an amazing experience. And that's one of the things I'm trying to bring into that Manifest Wellness program, because I realize that people need something that's simple and easy that they can start doing now that they have the time during this pandemic crisis, get used to doing it, feel the difference, and then take it into their real lives once they jump back into it.
Yeah, easy.
One of the things you talked about yesterday is, show your sexy poses, love your body. One of the things I cherish and I try to support people in learning and self-loving their body is love that body you are in now and then get the body you want.
Yes. I love that. That is so true. And there's so much wisdom around that too, because if we're hating on ourselves, we don't take care of things that we don't like. I mean, that is such a fact. If we like something, we take good care of it. Think about your clothing. Think about your favorite shirt or your favorite pants. You take great care of it. You're like, oh, I got to wash this. I got to hang it up right away. Stuff that you don't like, you just toss in the back of the closet. You're like, I don't really care. And it's the same thing with our bodies. If we're hating on our bodies, we're not going to ever change our body, because we're not going to want to work it out. We're not going to want to look at it in the mirror. We're not going to want to use, whatever it is, lotions, or we're not going to want to decorate it because we hate it. So then nothing is going to change because we're so busy pushing against it and resisting it and hating it. So when you love your body, then you get it out in the sunshine and you walk it and you dance it and you play with it and you put on clothes that make you feel good. And then everything shifts because you're using it.
You're using it, and then you forget that before you used to think, oh, what are people thinking about me? Now you're using it, you're flaunting it, and you're doing it. Like I go to my kids' sports games and I will dance and I will stretch in front of the parents and I don't care because I've gotten comfortable with my body and I honor myself. And it's such a powerful experience.
Yeah. Yeah. And nobody, I guarantee you, nobody is looking at anybody else's body. I have this story that I like to tell people. When I was a new mom, it was summer and I was at the pool, and I had gone to Target and I had bought myself a very conservative one piece. And it's like I'd sit there with my towel and kind of toss my towel over my, stomach. And I was there and I had my baby in the carrier and my toddler running around. And I saw this mom out there and she was huge. I mean, beyond just a few pounds huge. She was a very large woman. And she was in the tiniest string black bikini. And she was the most beautiful woman I had ever seen in my life, because she was playing and she was running around and she was stretching and she was moving. And I mean, she had a difficult time moving because of her size. And she had the best smile and she owned it. And I was like, wow, I'm having envy over this woman who, by all standards, people would think that's not okay. You can't look like that. That's not even healthy. All of those things that you hear, and it just shifted me instantly, because it was like, no, 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 no. I would rather be over 300 pounds if I had that attitude than me sitting here right now whining over 20 pounds. And it was like, oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Everything we've been told is wrong. She's the beautiful one. She's the energetic one. She's the powerful one. I'm in the total wrong mindset. And that just shifted so much for me.
Oh, absolutely. And that brings in a lot of compassion, not only for yourself, but for other people. Like one of the things as women, we tend to do is we look at someone and maybe we'll start a judgment in our mind. It's just the way our mind works.
Exactly.
Shift that in that moment and give that person a compliment in your head. They have beautiful eyes. They have a sexy smile. Look at their hair. Look how confident they are.
Yes.
And shift that. And it changes the way you feel within your body, because you're no longer judging them. So you're not going to judge yourself as much.
Right. Right. And it just made me realize, again, like that, I'm being judgmental. I'm buying into the stereotype that you can't look like that. Yes, you can. And you can be happy, and you can be way more gorgeous and powerful than anybody. Yeah, it's amazing.
Absolutely. I love it. I love how we align so well. One of the things that I love about what I teach is becoming a goddess unleashed, is letting the world know who you are. And you talked about these 3 words that came up. I think you were talking about burlesque, that you have to surprise, amuse, and titillate.
Yes.
And that is what it's all about. It's letting people know who you are. Tell me about those 3 words and what they mean to you.
Yeah. So much. There's so much that they mean around me. But the surprise, for the lawyer side of me, I'm smart. I'm really smart. I can solve legal puzzles. I can do this. And I can still be silly and bouncy. And I can still be goofy. And I can still act dingy because it's funny. And that's that surprise piece. People think if you're one way, you can't be anything else. And my book, Flaunt, is all about revealing all facets of who you are. And it's funny to me that it's surprising that we still can't believe women can be smart and sexy and spiritual. And that's that surprise piece that I love. I love being able to say, yeah, I'm a really good mom, and I'm very polite, and I'm very soft and motherly around my kids. And I can get on stage and I can be very sexy and very dominatrix-ish and move into that side of me. And I can be very professional and move into that lawyer side of me. That's that surprise. Delight is just finding the joy in everything. We all have really bad things happen to us. Life is really unfair and really hard. And it's finding the delight in those difficult circumstances. And it's not a fake delight. I want to point out, it's not just being like, oh, the life is wonderful and I'm so happy. It's finding the delight in the growth that comes from something. Allowing yourself to be in that grief, but then finding some delight anyway. And that titillation is allowing ourselves to express that delight. There's so many things that we feel inside, but that we don't express to other people because we don't want to be judged as being dingy for letting that delight flow through us. But yeah, it's that, ooh, name it, claim it, own it. Flaunt is an acronym, and it's 5 steps, and it's find your fetish, laugh out loud, accept unconditionally, navigate the negative, and trust in the truth, in your truth. And that second step of laugh out loud, that's that titillation piece. Claim it and own it and laugh and share it with other people, because we're all human and we all have more than one side, and we're all covering parts of ourselves. So surprise and delight and titillate and let it all come out.
I love that. I love that. I used to be part of a group, BNI, Gables Rainmakers in Miami, and it was primarily a group of men. So all of these men, and I had to stand up on stage and do presentations for them, and they would be blown away at the courage and everything that I had shared with them and all these things that I would do. And it's amazing that they saw things in me that I didn't even see. And slowly as the process, you know, as I got my courage and understood myself more and was able to show them these things, you know, the stretching and doing the hypnosis and all of this stuff, was when I realized, you know, I can bring out my silly side and be intelligent and smart. And they all respect and honor me for everything that I've done, all the books that I've written. They are completely proud of me for everything. And they love that I have such variety. So why not show it on to the world? So this particular week, of course, I meet you. And I decide I'm going to open my other channel, my Goddess Unleashed channel, where I'm going to put my silly videos and wear my wigs and do my dances, because my other side does deserve to have its own space.
Yes. I'm glad. I am so glad you're doing it, because yes, it does deserve it. And we all have it. And as it becomes more normal, it allows us, you know, to be able to do it. And then it does become more normal. And then we can let more out. And then it becomes more normal. I gave a talk at a Disrupt HR event on diversity, and unleashing all parts of who we are really helps improve and increase diversity in the workplace. Because right now, so many people believe they have to act one way. And we say, oh, we're diversifying. Well, we're diversifying, but we're still telling people they have to act one way, and that's not diversity. So yes, I love that you're doing that. And I encourage everybody to go do something that they think is crazy, because that's diversity in life. And we're all far more diverse than we allow others to believe.
This was such an amazing show, and I can't wait until we start doing classes together and teaching together and do more podcasts, because I'm going to be on yours very soon.
Yes.
So exciting.
Yes.
So thank you for joining us. Give them a little shout out so they know where to follow you before this show.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll hold up my book too. It's Flaunt, Drop Your Cover and Reveal Your Smart, Sexy, Spiritual Self. And you can get it anywhere books are sold. And it's audio as well, digital, audio, and print. You can find me at my website, and it's Lora, Lora. And make sure you spell it that way. It's a different way, Lora, Cheadle, CHEADLE.com. I've got an amazing bundle of joy gift pack if you go to my website and sign up on the little gold bar. It is a intro to lap dance video. It's a hypnosis MP3, create one positive habit download. And it's a PDF worksheet on increasing your intuition. So if you just sign up for my newsletter, you download all 3 of those, and it's right there. You can also find me across all social media. My most fun social media is the Flaunt Flock on Facebook. And that is a private group, and we dance and we play and we share our pain. So reach out, find me anywhere, but loracheadle.com is the main place.
I love it all. And I'm going to go sign up today because that sounds fabulous. And I want a copy too. Yay. Thank you for joining us. This is Diane Vick, Goddess Unleashed. See you for the next episode of Courage and Compassion as I continue to interview amazing people and bring joy to the world. See you soon. Aloha.